Hello everyone, welcome to Talk Here with Dr. Laz, your favorite health program on television, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My name is Dr. Laz Eze. Yes, bringing you today's program from a private health facility in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. And right here is a kidney center where there is extensive care, specialist care for patients who have kidney failure. So today we are going to begin with a story from a patient who had kidney failure some months ago and currently undergoing dialysis. The essence of this is to bring to fore the management procedure for this health condition and also the needs of the patient, especially funding needs to ensure that they get the best possible quality of care. And of course, on this program before, we've had discussion on different types of kidney diseases. And also, we've also interviewed the post-kidney transplant patient who discussed what is required to live with a transplanted kidney. So right now, we'll be talking to a patient that is undergoing dialysis. He will share his story, and we'll take it off from there. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Health Agenda 2023. The Nigerian health system is becoming weaker with the mass exodus of medical doctors, nurses, and other skilled health workers out of the country. In February and March 2023, Nigerians will go to the polls to elect the next president and state governors, respectively. This provides an opportunity for the election of leaders who will help to strengthen the health sector and reposition it to deliver quality healthcare services at all levels. We present to you Health Agenda 2023, an interview segment on this program for presidential and governorship candidates to discuss their health agenda before the electorates. For sponsorship and participation, reach out through any of the contact details displayed on your screen.
Welcome back to the program. So let's hear from our patient. Hello, sir. Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Ogbonneoma. I'm from Ebonyi State, Nigeria, in Ohoza local government area in Ebonyi State. I'm from Okposhoku and Uveze too in Okposhoku.
Okay, so obviously you are undergoing treatment, hemodialysis for kidney failure. Can you explain how this illness started, just for the benefit of people who might be watching so that they can learn from your story?
Okay. This thing started about 1 year plus now. Just I had a BP problem. I went to one hospital at a mother ladder that admitted me. After some months, they discharged me. After some months, this thing came back again. I went there, they admit me again. So after they did this, I couldn't discover, the doctor said that I have a hole in my chest. Then after what we do this, they couldn't discover say it's not a hole in my chest. Then they have to refer me to another hospital. When I went there, he thought it's only God who survived me because it's not by my own grace. Because if by my own grace, I could have gone since. So since that very day, after I couldn't discover say that it's not a hole, it's a kidney failure. Since that almost 1 year plus now, I've been collecting treatment. And so far, so good now. In short, the treatment I'm going, I have so everything that I have. The whole family have been exhausted. Everybody is tired. In short, that's why I'm saying, let me appeal to Nigerians and governors and president. Please, I need the help. I want to do this transplanting once and for all so that I will have my health back. So please, I want Nigeria to help me. I want president. I want the Ebonyi State government to help me. Mostly governor, ministers, local government chairman, all the portal personnel in Ebonyi State. They should come to my rescue, please. They should not allow me because my wife have died since over 2017. So I cannot leave my 3 kids and go out like that. That's why I'm pleading to Nigeria. Please, Whosoever this touches, please, 1 naira is money, 2 naira is money. They should help me because I have acquired of doing transplanting. They tell me it's about 20 million naira. I cannot even afford even 1 million naira, talk less of to afford the 20 million naira. Please, I'm appealing to Nigerians, churches, whosoever it touches, my story touches, they should help me. Please, I need help. I need serious help. As I day here now, it's almost every day now I'm begging before I can be able to come to dialysis. Even this very morning now, it's my old mother that is up to 100 years now that sent 27,000 naira yesterday night for me. That's why I can be able to come this dialysis today. Please, I need help. Nigeria to help me. Thank you very much.
Okay, so this dialysis, how many times do you do it in a week?
I do dialysis 3 times in a week. But because of the financial issue, I'm doing it 2 times in a week now because I cannot be able to afford it again. But normally I'm supposed to do this because if you look at my stomach, there's enough of water. Assuming that I'm continuing with that 3 dialysis, the water will not store in my stomach again. So because of the financial issue now, I cannot be able to cope up now to do that. I cannot be able to cope up again to do that 3 dialysis again.
How much is each session of dialysis?
Dialysis I'm doing is 35,000 naira once. So that 3 dialysis is 305,000 naira every week. I calculated, I'm spending I am doing this dialysis now, 1 year and 4 months now.
Okay, so does that include the money for tests and other things?
No, this is only for dialysis alone. The money that I'm buying drugs alone is, if you calculate it, it's more than 50,000 naira I'm spending once I come to dialysis, because we buy a lot of drugs. We buy a lot of drugs. Thank you.
Our prayers are with you, and we believe that God is going to also intervene and keep you alive to take care of your children.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful, sir. And I pray, whosoever my story touches, let God reward that person in 100-fold.
Thank you. That's Mr. Omahi Obonnaya there. As you can see, a lot of financial requirements to keep up with this. This is just one of many cases, not only in Abuja, every state in Nigeria, and many teaching hospitals, specialist private hospitals that are caring for patients with kidney failure. And of course, dialysis is just a temporary measure, but transplant is the definitive treatment for this kind of condition. We are putting out the account details there, because as part of our corporate social responsibility of Talk Health Nigeria and Dark Communications PLC, of course, you know that AIT is perhaps the only TV station that intentionally, put out this kind of information for patients, around Nigeria that requires this kind of help. So it's just in line with that organizational corporate responsibility that, we are doing this. But we are going to be talking with a specialist, a healthcare professionals, so as to bring more enlightenment on the things that could cause kidney disease or lead to kidney failure and other important information you need to know about. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talking with Dr. Lars, your favorite health program on television. Yes, like I told you, I'll be speaking with a specialist, and I'm right here in the office of Dr. Hamid Oguntade. He's a kidney care specialist here in Abuja. Dr. Hamid, good to be with you.
Thank you, Lars. Good to have you, Dr. Lars.
Right. Okay, at your center, I saw a lot of patients at the dialysis center, undergoing dialysis. And of course, kidney transplant is the definitive care. But just for the sake of educating those who are watching, what are the common symptoms that you get to encounter, early symptoms that people could be seen, and they begin to suspect that perhaps they may have kidney dysfunction.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Las, for this important discussion. In the nephrology world, in the kidney care world, we try to really emphasize that we don't even want people to begin to have any form of symptoms before coming to the hospital. Because for kidneys, the moment you start having some of these symptoms, it's getting too late. So the idea and what we try to preach for people is that you should have a very good health-taking behavior that allow people to come to hospital when they are even fine or when they appear fine to do regular checkup. That is the best time to detect any of all these things. Having said that, one of the things to note, or one of the symptoms that people can readily notice that can point to kidney disease is one, when you begin to have foamy urine. This is very common. So when you urinate and you discover that your urine is foaming, it's a time for you to come to the hospital. By the time you begin to get weak generally, and you are treating malaria, you are treating this, you are still not getting fine, it's time for you to see a specialist because it could point to something more sinister going on. By the time you begin to notice that your legs are getting swollen or your face are getting swollen, this is time again for you to come to the hospital. When people begin to have things like itching, this is time for you to come to the hospital. You need to see expert care. But like I said earlier on, we don't even want people to have any of these symptoms at all before coming to the hospital. So we must learn as people to cultivate the habit of coming to the hospital regularly, timely, to do regular checkup.
So that's a very good point there. But in terms of prevention or those habits, people should imbibe that helps their kidney. Can you quickly just give some tips of certain habits that promotes kidney care?
Or
kidney functions, I mean to say.
Very good question, Dr. Lax. One of the things we must know is to first talk about what are the common causes of kidney disease around our locality. I will talk about one, diabetes. So people who have diabetes or those who are yet to really diagnose that they have diabetes but begin to notice that they are getting thirsty excessively, they are urinating excessively, this set of people needs to come to the hospital from time to time. And for those that have diabetes that have been confirmed, you need to be regular with your drug, you need to be regular with coming to the hospital, you need to be regular with the advice that the doctors must have given to you. Another common cause of kidney disease around here is hypertension. People who have been diagnosed to have hypertension, they need to ensure that they take their drugs regularly. They need to come to the hospital regularly. In our area, we've also seen that poorly treated infections. So people have boils on their body, they have rashes on their body, they have sore throat. These are poorly treated infections. These things need to be properly taken care of because over time, they can cause problem and settle down in the kidneys. There are also some other infections in the body, like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. Those who have been diagnosed to have this infection need to come to the hospital and have these things treated properly. Those who have not been diagnosed, like I said, regular good health-seeking behavior, you need to know what your status look like with some of these infections and ensure that you get them treated. The common thing again that we've also noticed around here is the habit of people taking all sorts of locally made condiments about concussions. You see people begin to take okpai, paraga, different kind of mixtures that we don't even know what is inside. You take some of all these things, it goes into settle on the kidneys, they cause damage and they begin to cause this problem. So our people needs to run away from drinking some of this. We are not saying this about concussion are totally, completely bad, but we are saying that we found out that they are not dosage, they are not well regulated. So it tends to cause more harm.
Subject to be abused.
Exactly. So it tends to cause more harm, than good. Another common thing around this area is that those who have had family history of this kidney disease. So if you have somebody in the family who have had it before, it's time for you as a person to ensure that you come to the hospital regularly so that whatever it is that caused that one in the family won't run through. Because one common cause is what we call ADPKD. people that can run in the family. Again, you need to come to the hospital regularly to check this.
Okay, what's the full meaning of that ADPKD?
Oh, it is autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease. It runs in the family.
So, which means anyone that's been diagnosed of that,
yes,
very high chance.
Yes,
that
if you have it in your family, if your father has it, the children needs to ensure that they come to the hospital for that.
Okay, so hemodialysis, we saw some patients undergoing that. What's the patient we talked to used to do 3 times per week. Right now, 2 times. He's really struggling with funds.
Yeah.
So, what are the potential implications of that? You know, instead of 3, he's now doing 2.
Yeah.
Who knows whether it will drop to 1?
Yeah.
He's hoping to get money for dialysis and say he doesn't even have up to 1 million, while he requires 20 million naira.
Yeah.
What's been your experience like? You know, having patients who, because of lack of funds, you know, their health condition, you know, get worse and possibly take their lives?
Well, that's a tough one because, and this is where we need a good health insurance system.
Okay.
Kidney health generally everywhere in the world is expensive, and one of the form of health challenges that someone can have is chronic kidney diseases. It's quite, in terms of finance, it's quite tasking, it's quite demanding. And over what we've seen over here, we've seen quite a number of community funding for people. You have somebody who have a GoFundMe, community donating, churches donating to ensure that they have these transplant done. It's quite expensive. You've also seen people coming to help willingly, some philanthropists coming to help people. But like I said, it's not a disease an average Nigerian can really manage to properly. And it's on this note that we are making appeal to people, people of goodwill, to ensure that they can set up fund, you know, so we have like a trust fund here where we help people. And this hospital, as part of its community service too, yearly pick 2-3 patients and do transplant for them for free. But again, it is not enough. So we need people to help. You know, while we try to talk to the government to ensure that they get this health insurance and, you know, better and workable.
Yes, you can't say that enough. And good enough, this year in 2022, the president signed the National Health Insurance Authority Act.
That's correct.
Which makes it mandatory for every resident of Nigeria to have health insurance. Perhaps we look forward to its implementation.
Very important.
And that should also be what the next administration, when they come in 2023, could be looking forward to, and of course for Nigerians to make it as a demand.
That's correct.
You know. Okay, so on transplants right now, I think we'll conclude with that. What is the experience like in Nigeria, not just in your hospital, but generally speaking? I'm sure you'll be talking to your colleagues in other centers. The ease of getting voluntary donors, you know, to donating their kidneys. And coming into the hospital, I saw a notice out there that is clearly warning people, you know, not to hang around there to do any kind of transaction, which the National Health Act frowns at. You know, it says transplants must be voluntary with no financial involvement.
That's correct.
You know, so what can you say around that? The access to voluntary donation of kidney in this case.
Okay, thank you for that question, Dr. Lars. I must confess that it's a tough one. You know, there are 2 major obstacles to transplant in Nigeria as it stands right now. Number 1 is the finance. So those who need this, do they have the money to really access this care? Number 2 is donor, because it's not just even enough to say, oh, I want to donate. The person that wants to donate for you, is it your match? So I feel on this note, we in the nephrology will need to do more advocacy to let people realize that you can donate. One can live with just 1 kidney. God has given us 2 kidneys, and if you have a neighbor, if you have a friend, if you have anybody, you can donate one to that person to save their lives. Here, like you rightly said, we don't do commercial donor. People that come here, you must be willingly, uncoerced if you want to give out your kidneys. There's no transaction about it. But I know that we are doing better. We are going to get better. It's similar to what the experience looks like in the 80s, where when you tell people to come and donate blood, they don't want to. They tell you that no, they don't take my blood, don't take my blood. But now we begin to see people, voluntarily walking in and say, oh, I want to donate blood, I want to save life. So I feel that we need to do more advocacy to allow people realize that you can live with one kidney. In terms of our outcome, the results in this facility and in general from quite a number of other centers doing transplant in Nigeria is competitive, is comparable with what is obtainable outside. In this facility, there's no batch of transplant where you don't have to have people coming from outside the country to come and do transplant with us. Our result is competitive and it's similar to what you see in so many other places too. So the country is doing very well. We just need the government, we need ourselves as individuals to help our neighbors.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hamid Oguntade, for having this chat with us.
You're welcome, Lax. You're welcome, Dr. Lax.
Yes, Health Agenda 2023, we keep bringing to you issues that should be topical and governors or governorship candidates in 2023, and of course other political party candidates in various positions, what they need to pay attention to. And with me here is Eze Onyekwere. He's a legal practitioner and a development expert. He's going to share his thoughts because he's led implementation of a number of development projects in the health sector and beyond. Welcome to Health Agenda 2023, Mr. Onyekwere.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. You've done a number of work at the national and state level, looking at health budgets, looking at implementation of basic healthcare provision fund, promoting social justice within the health sector. As we move into the 2023 election, what are those issues you want the governorship candidates to pay attention to, as many of them are beginning to roll out their manifestos and launching their campaign towards the March 11, 2023 governorship elections?
If the governorship candidates have the presence of mind, I would have recommended that they take a good look and read the national health policy, first of all, and understand it properly. And when they do, they should also read the National Health Act and probably the National Health Insurance Authority Act. By the time they read these three pieces of legislation and the policy, they will have been in a position to understand what the health sector at the state level requires. But in a nutshell, I would think that there are certain critical concerns at the state level. The first is the traditional thing we say about more money for health. And the second is the value for money issues around strategic purchasing. And the most important and third part of it is about the equitable nature of the spending of the health funds. So we are looking at making more money available, spending it in a value for money manner, and then spending it in an equitable manner that you ensure you cover all your citizens. And this brings me immediately to the issue of the recently signed into law National Health Insurance Authority Act. But under that act and under developments in health insurance going on in Nigeria, each state of the federation is required to set up its own health insurance or contributory scheme. And indeed, I understand close to 30 states have done so. And that is what, in the first place, qualifies the states to participate in the resources that are coming through the health insurance window of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. So I expect them to set up health insurance agencies, make them functional, because in most states of the federation, these laws are there, but they have not been operationalized. And operationalizing it means also that they should look out for what is called the equity fund. Most of these laws have equity funds, and that's the fund that will, from where you get resources to take care of the poorest of the poor, who may not be able to pay premiums. So in that equity fund, the state government is supposed to give some form of a matching grant, the initial money that sets up that equity fund. And in some states, they are saying even that their elected and appointed political office holders, like in Sokoto, are supposed to contribute 10% of their basic monthly salary into the fund. So, in essence, what I'm saying that they should look at these three key components as well as their health insurance laws, how to implement them.
Okay, thank you very much. This is just a tip of the iceberg. So we're going to have further conversation on this. Thanks for being on Health Agenda 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us up to this point. Kidney care is very crucial, and of course, we are going into the dry season where there is harmattan, there is hot temperature that gets to dry up a lot of fluid from our system. So the experts say that regular water intake helps kidney functions, and dehydration could even lead to formation of kidney stones and stresses your kidney, acute kidney failure and all of that. So it's one important tip in addition to what the kidney care specialists have already told us. So let's take advantage of the National Health Insurance Authority Act by demanding that state governors see to their implementation as well as the president of the country. Even as we go into the 2023 elections, ask the right questions, make the appropriate demands as citizens so that no citizen whatsoever will have to bear the full cost of kidney transplant or kidney failure treatment, or even any other form of what they call catastrophic health expenditure, which is very high health expenses, bearing it out of pocket. No serious country allow their citizens to bear such burden alone. Thank you for watching. My name is Dr. Lars Eze. See you same station, same time next week. Bye.